Welcome back to the Hurry Up Offense. 5 minutes of fantasy football news and advice. I am Smokey Rameriz, your fantasy football pro. Let's go. Today's topic is, can we still trust the process? But first, let's get into the news. Turns out that DJ Moore's ankle injury is not as serious as we thought at first, so he has a good shot to play this week, which is maybe bad news for Rodney Anderson, but maybe not. Teddy Bridgewater does like both of these receivers, and he gives both of them the production. Now, with Christian McCaffrey coming back, it's probably going to hurt Curtis Samuel. Not only from the running back snaps that Curtis Samuel would get, I think it hurts his receiving targets as well, because Christian McCaffrey will soak up those targets. Josh Jacobs has also avoided serious injury, and he also has a chance to play this coming week. But the Raiders are playing the Jets, which you would think that should be a favorable matchup. Like, the Raiders can get out ahead and just run the ball with Josh Jacobs. But Josh Jacobs is in the midst of his sophomore slump, so I don't expect a lot out of Josh Jacobs, even against a team like the Jets. Speaking of sophomore slump, Miles Sanders is still healthy, but if you had him on your team and didn't watch that game, you would have thought not. Miles Sanders is not producing. This team is not producing. This quarterback is not producing. The Eagles look really bad right now. Maybe Miles Sanders can throw something together for us this week against the Packers, who have a really bad run defense. It's possible. Guys, this is big. Will Fuller has been suspended for the rest of the season. Good Lord, a PED suspension. Will, what are you doing? Oh, but tell you what. Brandon Cooks is going to reap the benefits of Will Fuller's suspension. He is the number one man in line right now. And as we know, Deshaun Watson gives out a lot of targets. And Brandon Cooks, along with Kiki Kuti, he could be a play this week also and in the coming weeks. But if you have Brandon Cooks, you're lucky. He's your man now. Brandon Aiyuk has been activated from the COVID list. So even though we saw Deebo Samuel have a return to dominance, a new breakout game, a breakout game for the season, if you will, we know this is Kyle Shanahan's offense, and that could change at any moment. And with Brandon Aiyuk being back, he could be the man this week. It is so hard to predict that 49ers offense for fantasy purposes, because Kyle Shanahan doesn't like us fantasy players, apparently. Thanks, Kyle. And last but not least this week, the Broncos QBs have all been cleared. Don't you think they could have just pushed the game back? But it is what it is, and all assumptions right now point toward Drew Lock being back under center this coming week. Now, they're probably not going to win. Not against the Chiefs. But we have seen quarterbacks produce great fantasy numbers playing against the Chiefs. Most recently, you could say that for Tom Brady and Derek Carr. Derek Carr specifically, because he's not a great quarterback, but you can get your fantasy numbers out of a quarterback playing the Chiefs. That's it for the news this week. Let's get into the game theory portion of the show. And the question of the day is, can we still trust the process? The problem being 2020 has been an anomaly of a year. I've seen weird things happen. I've seen complete novices dominate longtime veterans because of the way this year is playing out. It is unlike any season I have ever seen. The process is nothing more than a collection of information that fantasy elites, fantasy analysts, fantasy experts have all thrown in on over the course of years. There is no set guidelines. It's just a collection of information written in many sources. And the question right now is, does it still work? And the fact is, yes, it does still work. Maybe not this season, because it's an anomaly and these things will happen throughout a lifetime. But we are going to stick to the process. We are going to stick to the cycles and trends. We are going to watch how players rise and fall and continue on our path, because once this season is over, I could almost guarantee you we will return to some semblance of fantasy normal in the coming seasons. There is no reason to get discouraged over this season. We may not win this season. We may dominate this season by accident, but the fact is it will return to normal. So we must stick to the process in the future. Guys, if you're in it this season, let's go win a championship. If you're not, we're going to win one next season. Now you go finish out this season strong. Keep working the waiver wire. Keep trying to put together the best team possible, because it all in all, it's still a learning experience to go toward your future winnings. That's it for me this week. Please subscribe to the Beyond Football channel. I am Smokey Rameriz, your fantasy football pro. I'll see you next week. Deuces.